Hey, tape marker, action. What's going on, Alamo City Movie Talk fans? I'm Ryan D, aka Ryan680. Lex,
hello guys.
What's going on? Man?
Glad to be back. Lex here in the building.
Yeah,
in the virtual building.
Yeah,
yeah. Happy to be back once again, and we're super stoked to talk some Mandalorian.
Yeah, man, and you know, on a side note here, obviously, what everyone's talking about here in the United States, if you're watching us in the United States, you know, we still don't have a president. What the hell is going on here?
I mean, we do,
but we don't.
We do. We don't have a decision on the next one yet.
On the certain, I got you. But on a side note, that's what we're dealing with here. But let's get right to it, man. I mean, The Mandalorian Chapter 10. I mean, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, so Lex, go ahead and get us started, man. Since you really did love this episode, I know you said that. Yeah. What you know? It's funny too because I'm gonna say like, I mean, I'm gonna say I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I really like this episode. I was telling my girlfriend that it's probably one of my favorites of like the two seasons. Not just, I mean, if I say it's one of my favorite this season, it just means that it was my favorite.
No, you could say
the last one, but no, I just mean like even including season one, it's one of my favorites. And it was. There's a few things on why it's not just what the episode did, but it confirmed some things to me. Like I mentioned in the last episode, in the last review, I'm really hoping this season doesn't feel like a one episode standalone adventure. Right? Like, because that's what last season was, up until the end, where a lot of the episodes were actually tying and building up to the finale.
Exactly.
But the fact that like it picked up right where we left off last time, which is still him like driving through the desert as soon as that mission completed, and then he's on the same path. He's looking for Mandalorians, and that's eventually to help them lead them to finding Jedis, right? So once again, that storyline has been set since last season, and it's building up on this one. It didn't. There was like a side quest like in the previous season. But once again, the goal is the same, and I like that. I like that more center of focus, and we can talk more in the spoilers part of it.
Yeah, we'll talk about spoilers at the end.
The way this episode was filmed made it very different than anything we've gotten in the previous season, in terms of like the genre that it falls in, and it's also a little different than what Star Wars has done.
Most definitely way more different.
And so that's why, like, without going into spoilers, those are the elements that I really liked about this episode. Once again, it feels like the path is clear. The path is clear, and even if you go offside of it, everything that's driving Mandalorian is like, okay, my goal comes first. I'm helping others around the way, but he's doing it to get there. And so I really, really like that. Last season, there were some episodes where he would go on another journey, and it's almost like they forgot, they forgot, like, okay, I'll drop everything else I was doing to do this. And this time it feels a little different. The characters in it were great, even though it was small. Like, there wasn't very many aside from the core individuals. We got a whole lot more of Baby Yoda. And exactly. A lot of moments that I really, really enjoyed.
So right out the bat, I mean, we go into this world again, right when we left off. And here's the thing, here's the beauty of it, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, there is such thing as a budget per episode. And you can really tell out of this. You really can, because last episode, we get over the top, looks like a good CGI budget here. And then here, it's not as much. It's still CGI, of course, but it's still not as much of it, I would feel like, as much as it was last time, as far as like explosions and all that, all that gritty stuff. But I just, here's the thing. I love it whenever they do stuff like this, because you show him really not, I mean, this is about the Mandalorian. This isn't a Star Wars episode. That's the reason why this works. Like, this is the reason why it works, because if this was a Star Wars movie, of course, we would all be against it. I mean, this is an episode, it's not an episode, it's a series following the Mandalorian. And here's the thing. I really love it, because I've said it countless times on, previous episodes, like, the adventures, and Mandalorian adventures, because you see him follow through the same, like you already said, Lex, like you see him follow through that, that one path, but then he goes around and just has to get back on it. He follows does these little quests here, I guess you could say, and who knows what it leads to. and he's hoping that it leads up to a Mandalorian along the way. And yeah, I mean, just right off the bat, I mean, I loved how this really started out, because we got it to where he was just right. I love it when they get it just right in, right when he's at Tatooine. And yeah, I just, we get a lot more of the child in this episode, which I really did love. I'll say that I really did love that. It felt more grounded, in a sense to where, he's just an average guy, man. I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, he's not, I'm not saying.
I wouldn't say average.
Yeah.
He knows how to get off to tough situations.
Yeah. But okay. Let me rephrase it. He's not a Jedi, he's not a Sith.
Sure.
Yeah. So it just, it feels more grounded. That's why, in a sense, to where that's why we all connect with it, because he's like, he's not. I mean, I don't want to say he's not special, but he doesn't really have special powers. No, I mean, who knows? We don't.
I mean, and if I may, what I really like about this show and how it's working, like you said, it's of course the Western vibe, but it's allowing. It's doing something that's really hard to do with the Star Wars universe.
Very hard.
With the Star Wars universe, the way it started back in the original trilogy, now there's an expanded lore and there's the comic books and things like that. But even just at its very, very core, it's about the Jedi and it's about this family, right? The Skywalkers, and things like that. The movies have tried to step away from the original family and all that stuff. We all know how that went, right? But it's hard. It's hard to do that. And the new trilogy proves that it's really challenging to part away with old ways, or like the standard of what Star Wars is. Yeah. And this show is doing it very successfully by embarking us on this journey on a non-Jedi with very little relationship to the Force at all. And from an enemy standpoint, right, on Star Wars movies, we're always used to like the Sith, right, the big bad guys, and they're carrying lightsabers.
The lightsaber,
And in this show, what's working so well is, there's the I forget his name, but the commander played by Giancarlo Esposito, but it feels like the galaxy is the enemy of the show. It's what's threatening.
Yeah.
The environment of these planets that we're going into and the creatures inside of it, just like we saw in the first season, those are the challenges. And that's something that Star Wars hadn't really, like, they dipped their toes into it. There was a lot of characters and weather conditions in Star Wars, but like, the Sith is the enemy. The Sith is the end game. Here, I'm just afraid of what's out there, the creatures, and in this particular, without going into spoilers, the weather conditions were a problem as well. And so what I'm trying to say is that the Mandalorian is being very successful as almost like it's Star Wars, but you're forgetting that Sith exists. Like, I don't want to say like you're not thinking about
Jedi and the Sith. Yes.
Yeah. You're not thinking about it.
Here's the thing: we're going to see this season. How is it going to play out with this? We're going to see Jedi. I mean, he's going to encounter a Jedi or a Sith, whatever. Like, he's going to encounter those kind of characteristics there. Yeah. And how is it going to work with the formula that Jon Favreau and all of them? You know, like, it's just, it has to click and it has to do it well. It has to do it smoothly.
That's going to be very, very interesting. I do like that they're taking their time, though, right? Like, they didn't create season 1 and like, okay, by episode 2 we have to introduce a Jedi. They're taking 2 episodes into season 2.
Yeah. They're telling a story. They're telling the original story that has no, like, I mean, this is it. Yeah. This is probably the only thing that Disney has right now that's really killing it as far as Star Wars stuff. Like, it just, I mean, granted, like, I know the hate criticism of Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi. I'm one of those people. Yeah. It's just one of those things to where, like, I even see people comment. They're just like, oh, well, we don't. I even saw the meme. I'm pretty sure you saw it too. Is that like, we might not get a president on today, but we got the Mandalorian on Friday, like stuff like that. Like, that's trending and stuff like it gives people hope, you know. And that's the thing that's what it is right now. It's just it's such a strong story that everyone loves to see. The kids love to see Baby Yoda, the child. You know, they love to see it interact with creatures. But we'll talk about that, how it interacted with creatures on this one, which I keep forgetting what Yoda was. I mean, what was the stuff that he would eat? But yeah, I just, again, I feel like I really did enjoy this a lot. I just again, I just wouldn't say I love the last one, I guess, a little bit more. But again, it's one of those things to where like, everyone's gonna enjoy it. We all enjoy it our own way, and that's the beauty of it, man. I loved it. I'm not gonna say, oh, this didn't ruin the season for me. It kept up. It met my standards. I would say that, and a little bit more. It really did, because I just, it's funny because we're in a sense to where with Disney Plus right now, with the Mandalorian series, we're in a sense right now in this level to where, okay, Jon Favreau, you showed us this much, now show us more and more, give us more. Oh, you reached another level in the season finale. Like last season finale, that's another thing too. We expect this season to be even bigger than last season's finale. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, it's just how the more seasons you go, I don't want to say the more harder it gets, but the more kind of harder it gets. Like in the sense to where like you need to, how many more seasons is this gonna go? In a sense, you know what I'm saying? So and that's the beauty of it, is that like with this guy, since he's in the outer rim, what do you know? Disney, you made something original, and it's actually, Jon Favreau actually made something original, and it's actually growing into a bit, it's right now it's a baby. Just keep making it. You could probably go 5 to 6 seasons with this. I feel like you could do it, and it can make sense because it's in the outer rim area, and so I enjoyed this episode. I'm not gonna say I didn't. I did love the new gadgets. It seems like he doesn't run out of gadgets in this one.
There is once we talk about it, there is one gripe that I have that I did have last season as well. It's super small, but do you want me to cover it now?
Let's go to ratings real quick, and then we'll go to spoilers. Yeah. So ratings. Lex, what's your rating, man? 1 out of 10, 10 being the greatest, 1 being the lowest. What are you gonna give it?
Yeah. Let me see. I'm very generous with my ratings, by the way. I always stick between like the 8 to 10. I mean, with a good product like this, right? Like I always stick between the 8 to 10. I know last time I gave it a 9, which was like generous. Is just how I felt. Yeah. This one I want to give it like a. And last time actually I didn't think of like doing like a point something, but this one I would give it like an 8.5.
Okay.
Now it's a lower number than last episode. But I really, once again, I hold this episode to a high regard because of what we'll cover here soon. Okay. But yeah, I think it was a solid 8.5. And I do admit, like, last season, it was episodic up until the last 3 episodes. I hope they flip it this season where, like, we're getting these side things 3 episodes, and then the last 5 just kick it into high gear. I hope they flip it. I hope they don't keep the same, just because this show is still doing very good at this at the slow point. But I'm just like you said, they need to build on top of what they had last season.
Exactly, and that's the thing too, is just you need to exceed. You need to really execute on this. And I feel like with Jon Favreau still there, as long as he's still at the helm, whether he's directing or not, because we saw it whenever he wasn't directing, it was actually a little bit like in a sense to where you get a different point of view, point of story there to tell that people love to tell, and do different directors and everything, and we get to see them gain the experience and have fun with it. So
and I mean he wrote this one still, so I think that's a good advantage.
I believe he directed it too at the same time, and then
not this one.
Oh, not this one. Okay.
Well, this one was the Ant-Man director.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then produced. I'm sorry. He produced. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
But so it's his vision, and that's why once again, I think Jon Favreau is gonna work as a key like Kevin Feige type of character. But in this show, the fact that he's writing is really, really a blessing. Just because he definitely has the talent. The story, once again, it's threading on the same line, and so I think they just have a killer winning team.
Yeah, I mean he's no stranger when it comes to Disney. I mean he's and that's funny too, because even some average Marvel superhero goers, they're just like, who's Jon Favreau? Dude, he created Iron Man. If it wasn't for him, like, It was. I mean, come
And
on,
he's
guys.
happy. And he's
Yeah.
happy. He also
Yeah,
acted
exactly.
in Iron Man.
Yeah, like, dude, like he was a security guard. Like, you have to understand, like, this guy's from Swingers. Like, this guy is just, he's been around the film industry for a very long time, and he's not going anywhere. I love him in Couples Retreat. I mean, dude, this guy could just.
He gave us Elf.
Yeah, exactly. The Replacements. I don't know if you remember him in The Replacements.
No, you know what? Someone recommended me that.
Keanu Reeves was the quarterback, and like he's like a linebacker, but he's like insane. Like he's in, like he just wants to hit people, and he just plays like a crazy person. It's hilarious.
That's back when he was like super thin, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny because now we see him very different, right? And it's just like if you see him back then, he's just like a little, I mean, kind of average head, and it's like a little body, like it's just like little built body, like he's built. I was like, what the heck? Very, very different. But yeah, I mean, I always tell people, if you haven't seen a Jon Favreau movie, it's just, you got to see Swingers if you're, depending your age group. But if it's like around our age, I always recommend Chef. Chef is one of those movies that
I heard that's a good one.
Yeah, Chef is a really great. I mean, he wrote it. He went all out. Scarlett Johansson came in and did some acting in there. Robert Downey Jr. They all did favors for him, pretty much, to help him out because he wanted to make that vision. But yeah, all right, guys. So we're gonna be talking about.
Wait, did you say?
You actually okay. It's funny you mentioned that. So you actually stole my rating. I was gonna get 8.5. Yeah, okay. Yeah, 8.52. I really can't wait to see what more we're gonna have here, obviously, and just to see where this goes. As long as it goes smoothly, I'm okay with this. Really good. Hope it goes smooth with everything going on. I just, and another thing too, I would say, I guess not really a spoiler, but like I love hearing "May the Force be with you." I love hearing that again. That's a very good, cool. To keep us back in that loop of like, hey, this is still part of Star Wars, and you said it already. You kind of forget it's in that realm in a sense because just following this one guy over and over again, like it's just and it just feels very different. Of course that's why it's called The Mandalorian. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see what the next adventures hold for him. And all right, let's get right to it, man. So let's go to spoilers. All right, spoilers. All right, get us started, Lex.
Yeah, so once again, a lot of the things that I really liked about this episode had to do with the spoiler situation. First, if I could start off, the whole spaceship pursuit, almost like getting pulled over and stuff was really, really cool. So just for context, Mandalorian is on his way. Well, I mean, even just before that, there's the fact that he now knows he has a new lead as to how to find Mandalorians. They're telling him, hey, this is a sure bet. This person can get you there, but they need to catch a ride. And in that moment, there was a lot of comedy. There was a lot of those elements, right? Like joking around is like, hey, I forget the character's name, but same lady as last time that's in Tatooine is like, hey, like, I can vouch for this person on my life. And then later on is like, oh, I met her like 15 minutes, but I'm a good judge of character. Those charismatic moments is once again that Star Wars magic that Jon Favreau and then in this case the director being Peyton Peyton Reed from Ant-Man. Ant-Man being a very Marvel-esque comedic take of the MCU. That essence was in here. Yeah. But the pursuit, I have to disagree with you in the sense of the budget, because I actually didn't feel that like a huge cut. In my opinion, because when they were doing the space pursuit, like very few moments were like CGI-esque, but the cinematography and like when they're going through the clouds, I was like, I haven't seen this like in a while. Like in the like it also took me like okay, it's a show, it's not a movie, but for me that portion is CGI on the pursuit and while he's getting pulled over, once again the comedic elements of that, but I almost forgot. And then towards the later part of this episode with the spider creatures, I also thought that was really good CGI. And so I do agree, like if I was to look at a bill, it's probably less CGI than last time. No explosions. I know those explosions were practical on the first episode, so that's money, and then blending it in with CGI with the creature. So definitely less, There was less characters, so probably the episode itself is cheaper.
Yeah, I forgot there was an explosion though in this one. Kind of in it. I forgot about that. So
you're right. So but I guess the scale, it's a smaller scale.
Maybe we're breaking even because remember that ice set. They had to have created that set.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So like you think about all these things, we're thinking about numbers, budget. We go more in depth, more behind the scenes of it. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is all the same budget. Every episode.
And I guess it's also the illusion that last season, I'd probably have to watch again, but last season you would get a big CGI creature or a CGI sequence once every other episode or once every 3. We've gotten them back to back now. So once again, I'm feeling the budget. Even if they need to do things for cheaper, they're doing quality stuff. That Space Pursuit was really good. One of my favorite shots is like just the clouds, that pretty yellow, pretty pink, all that's like then the spaceship going through. That was one of my favorite shots of the show. And I think once again, all these things added up to me having a really good experience. And then lastly, to comment on what I was mentioning is this dives into the hardcore like sci-fi horror with the whole spiders. I'm not an arachnophobe or anything like that, but I felt the intensity of that scene and the anxiety behind all these little creatures. You can cover a little bit more of like why these creatures popped up and how great those scenes were. But man, like all of that really, I was like, man, like I haven't seen like a horror thing like this. And granted, it's no Insidious.
I wouldn't call it horror. That's a little overbearing.
Well, that's why I said sci-fi. So there's horror, and then there's like the sci-fi suspense or thrilling elements.
I would
of
say
it.
a little. I don't know. Insects. It's very like either you're very disgusted or you're very creeped out. So I would say, So I would leave it in that realm. As far as horror, I wouldn't. I mean, again, but what was horrifying? What was horrifying was looking at the child eat all the damn eggs. That was horrifying. That was more horror than anything.
That was messed up, and they did it multiple times. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. And then the reason why the spiders were after him because the child actually ate one of the eggs. So I don't know that goes too much. We're not going to know that answer, and we don't really care for that matter. The point is that just they all woke up. They all woke up, and they're all they're all gigantic
pissed
spiders.
Off.
Yeah, pissed off spiders. It's funny because I was earlier today, ladies and gentlemen. I was actually looking on Twitter, and I was all like, why do people keep referencing Harry Potter? And I'm all like,
I was gonna say that too.
Why do they keep referencing Harry Potter? And I'm just like, now I know. I was all,
I mean that was a takeaway from my girlfriend. The Harry Potter thing.
Yeah, what's funny though is that I felt like the Chamber of Secrets, if I'm not mistaken. Please don't hate me. I think it's Chamber of Secrets, but whenever that scene happens, I'm more creeped out in that scene than this one because because that scene you actually see the eyes, you see the hair. You see it all, and then again I don't know. I'm pretty sure I wrote the ride, but like Universal Studios, you see them come out of nowhere like the spiders. So it's just in one of the rides. So it's very I
mean, and the reason why I think I say like sci-fi horror, of course, like it's not that I was scared, it's the anxiety, but more than the Harry Potter, I definitely saw that. I saw that vibe. I was feeling like Alien vibes. Like even just the way that the eggs would open up and the creatures themselves. And one particular shot after the spiders pursued Mando and the lady frog and the child into the ship, and the ship is getting damaged. Once the TIE fighters join in to kind of rescue him, but he exits the cabin and he goes back to his ship, like the scenery, like the spider webs, the little acid, like that. I was like,
quick.
And it was quick, just like him moving through that. But I was like, that's like an alien shot. Like that's just like, And once again, the eggs. So that gave me those vibes. It's not like at the same level, but even just the creatures themselves,
just small little tidbit.
And also, I guess once they're back in the ship, like just like the claustrophobia of it, like they're completely surrounded. They're outnumbered.
Now you're making me see the light. You're making me see it, Lex. I see it now. Yeah. It's like a friendly. It's like a friendly version of it. Like
for sure. Yeah, it's not at that level for sure. It's still family friendly for sure.
Yeah.
It's just very artistically, like you can see the references. And while I was surprised that this was the Ant-Man director, because yes, they've dealt with insects and things like that, but it's a different light. It's the MCU. This director really flexed his muscles because a lot of his work is unlike the unless I'm wrong and I didn't look at the list properly, but it's unlike this style, this very dark and cold scene that they took for this episode. I think this episode was able to elevate their game, because me personally, I had an opinion of the same director taking the third Ant-Man movie when the first two have been good but baseline good. Compared to everything else that the MCU gives you. So it's not like a shot at him, but it was just like, oh, they're going with the same dude. Okay, well, I'll see. It's just gonna feel like Ant-Man, the trilogy, is the most like by the book. But this episode has me kind of excited. Once again, that's how I feel that he's elevated now, seeing this level of cinematography, this level of messing with your emotions. So I hope that perhaps we see signs of this in the rest of his work.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if he's gonna direct the next episode. We'll find out, of course. I'm curious to see, because I know sometimes Jon Favreau will do like the first, or in this case, he did the first one, then we'll get a second one, then we'll get, and then they'll take turns, and I want to see that because you get different points of view of the same story, which is done very well, because you get different camera angles, you get different, everything's different, cinematography is different, everything just feels different, but in a sense, it's kind of funny how that works. It's different directors, but the same story, and it all flows so well. Like it all comes together. Boom.
And it shows you the power of Disney and Lucasfilm, right? Like they're able to pull this top talent, and it shows you that everyone like kind of like wants to dip their so in my opinion, directors are afraid to make a Star Wars movie.
Oh, right? I wouldn't doubt it.
Because of the backlash, because of the weight that carries. But I feel like Mandalorian is opening up. Directors are like, okay, let me dip my toes on that. It's only one episode.
Yeah.
I don't have to do the writing, or I don't have to worry about picking. Jon Favreau's taking care of that. I'm good. There's very little, there's little room for error. But I think this is gonna. I think these directors participating on this, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no.
I think the idea is gonna change. They're like, you know what? I can handle a movie. I'm not predicting that it's one to another, but I'm just saying the strong directors that dip their toes. I think even just across Hollywood, it's gonna change the mind. If they leave off the movies for a little bit, it's gonna. It's gonna instill more confidence. I don't want to say like I don't want to say that Peyton Reed is gonna do a Star Wars. I don't think that sentiment is there yet. But people dipping their toes on this helps them more than it hurts them.
Since you brought up the subject of Star Wars movies and directors and all that, it's funny. There's two problems. I'll say it right now. There's two problems. That one's positive, one's negative. Two problems that if you get caught to direct, or if you're able to direct a Star Wars movie, two problems. One, of course, we know the negativity. We just know everyone's gonna hate you. Like if you make a bad Star Wars movie, and obviously we saw that, but it wasn't it's hard because I don't know if it was the director. I didn't really look too much into Last Jedi, and we saw him. I can't forget, but he made Knives Out, which is it's a good, solid film. So it's just I can't like it. You're almost lost to a sense to where this is the same person that made Last Jedi. Are you effing kidding me? Like this guy is so good for this film, and just it doesn't make any sense to me. We go into passion. We go into is this a passion / and work style? And here's the thing. So That's the negative one, right? Everyone's gonna hate you. The positive one, but it's still negative, is that everyone loves you for it, and you're stuck making these movies. That's the thing. It's just like a lot of these directors are just like, hey, I just want to go in one movie. Garth Edwards made Rogue One. A lot of people it's kind of mixed, but they were trying to reach out for, hey, Garth, hey, come on and make another one, man. Make another Star Wars movies. He was busy doing Godzilla, and like and that's the thing. It's just he was all like, no, I don't want to do any more stuff. I did the story that I wanted to do, and that's it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And so like, and that's why I kind of feel like when JJ did this, I was just like, JJ, bro, you do not want to do this, but somebody has to do it. You have to fit it. I don't think anybody wanted to do it.
Well, that's and I agree with everything you're saying. I think that's the current problem, and I think Lucasfilm needs to fix it. And I think, once again, this is just like the prediction I'm going to stand on for a while. But like, should Jon Favreau if he was to
know
be
Taika's doing one, we know that. Oh, what's his name? The one that's doing the Thor.
Well, Taika Waititi. Yeah. So
he's doing one.
He's the type of person to handle that load, but because of the time, he's handling Thor. I'm just saying, like, he's already done at that level of work.
No, I'm not saying like the level. I'm not saying like the level of work. It's just like, I don't know, like, I want to see more films. I get the comic book movies. I really do. He does again. I didn't love the last Thor as much as I thought everyone did.
Really? Okay.
So I thought it was good. I just didn't love it. But I loved, oh my God, what was the last Nazi movie he did?
Jojo Rabbit.
Jojo Rabbit. Oh my God, I loved that movie. And so, like, if you put this, this director, he's good at making movies, not just Star Wars movies. If you put him in Star Wars movies, he's not gonna be able to make any regular movies. The funny stuff that he wants to do, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be very hard.
I don't know. I feel like these people can transcend, because like you would think like, oh, he's doing great Marvel movies. He's not gonna be able to make he made a movie about Nazis, right? So like, I think Taika Waititi's special in that regard because of how long he's been in the game. And I think he's those people that can transcend. But that's the type of people that Star Wars needs to get. But aside from that, what I'm saying is, if they get someone like Jon Favreau to act like the like Kevin Feige, I keep making that reference because that person can handle the load of the long-term commitment of Star Wars.
Yeah, they have somebody already. Catherine Kennedy.
Nah, it's not the same.
Kevin Feige, he's never directed a movie. He's always produced.
Correct.
He's never directed. So
but what I'm saying is she's not playing that role. She's
not playing that. I know, right? I know. Sorry about
she's had some role changes, so it's not the same. But if they have like the creative person, what I'm saying is like planning out and producing those films, they take the load of, okay, you're making a long-term commitment to Star Wars, and then they get directors for like those one and done, as long as the same like, every Marvel movie is not made by the same people,
of course,
right? So I think they need to do that. As much as I tell people like the Marvel formula is not like the only formula to approach, I just think that's gonna work with Star Wars. And
it's all the same branch. I mean, let's be honest here. Disney, just Disney owns it all, and like that's what astonishes the hell out of me, is that you can get these Marvel movies to make so much money, and use mixed positive or whatever, just positive and all that. But you make Last Jedi, you make Rise of Skywalker. It's pretty much like it's so mixed. But I feel like I've heard more negative comments than positive. People were just positive that it was just over. Like it's just like I'm just so astonished. Like, how can they let this happen? Like, Catherine Kennedy was supposed to be the helm of this. Where was she in all this? I get it. She was trying to recruit JJ because Force Awakens. So and we go back to, let's talk about the continuation. Force Awakens. I'll talk about it nonstop. Is that Force Awakens gave hope to the trilogy, to a new trilogy, to a new saga, and all this. Gave hope to the saga. And Last Jedi killed killed all that hope. I'll say it over and over. You can't catch it back past episodes. I mean, I really did enjoy Force Awakens. I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed it because we saw something different. We saw something original. We saw a stormtrooper or a First Order trooper go good. Question, why am I doing this? And they just left it at that. They never touched up on his emotions, the dark side, the more intuitive, inner side of, am I doing the right thing? Am I really, I want to see that. I want to see his training. I want to see him be taken. I want to see all that, because they made him a main character. Yeah. Why would you show any of that crap? Like, I go on and on about that because they didn't really develop, they advertised Disney. We've seen it, Lex. We've seen it so many times at Star Wars. They advertised that at Galaxy's Edge. They advertised Rey so much. And I'm just like, what about Finn? What about, what you consider him a main character? Where the heck happened to him? Yeah. I mean, we know the backstory between Chewbacca and then you advertise Kylo Ren. And I'm just like, you kind of gave us a little bit of Kylo Ren's backstory, but I wanted to see more in depth on it. They touched up on it, but just enough to where like, here guys, just follow. I didn't like what they did with his character after the first one. Dude, but and talking about Star Wars directors, I have if Taki's if he's really gonna do it, if he's gonna full on, I mean he has signed on to do it, but if nothing changes and he's still on to do it, I'm 100% on board. I can't wait to see the effing movie. I know it's gonna be good. I really do. I have high hopes.
Because of the time period that it's taking place, it's almost like he could just do one and people would be okay with it.
I want him. Yeah, and it's funny too you mentioned that, Lex, because I just want him to do one because I want to see his other projects.
Yeah, for sure.
This guy's a funny guy, and I hope we see that in here. I hope we see that that charismatic between action and I've never seen it done so well besides Tarantino, of course. But Tarantino's more violent. But I've never seen it so well to where you go violence and comedy, but like so like medium comedy. Like, it's not. I mean medium violence. It's not like all overboard violence like Tarantino does, and all that stuff. But it's one of those things. He's going to be a great director for sure. He's on his way to do it, and I can't wait to see what more he has to offer and everything. With Jon Favreau, I feel like I would rather see him do a Star Wars movie though, because he's not really tied down to anything. He has his record, man. He has his record of acting and directing. I don't know. I followed him on Instagram, but the only thing he really posts is Mandalorian stuff. So it seems like he's very passionate about this. So and people are going to be all like, oh, Jon Favreau should make a Mandalorian movie. No, do not make this into a movie. We do not need to.
It's already at that quality. Like, to be honest, like yes, it's not as grand of a scale. It doesn't cost the same, but it doesn't need to. So but also like part of that is like, should he make a movie like even just in the Star Wars universe, then what happens to the Mandalorian? So it all depends. Like it like I think he has to be running the show in order for it to work. I don't know who else can take that load, but once again, the fact that he's getting creative people in there and they're all chipping in, it's becoming a really good and diverse product, and I hope that we see more of these stories, like I said, and a lot of good stuff that worked here was in place, and I do just once again hope they just keep on expanding. Maybe the next episode is another side thing, although I hope not, because they're basically on their way to the planet with the Mandalorian, quote unquote.
I really, I'm gonna say it every episode, but I can't wait to see. I hope to see Ahsoka here. If we do see Ahsoka, I'm gonna be so amazed, and I'm gonna be so like just excited. I'm gonna be cheering on my TV. I'm gonna be, yelling, cheering. I'm like I'm at a Spurs game.
I also, I think, like the way that the Mandalorian represents like the cowboy western type of film, right? I hope they give the Jedi in here, or especially like if the Jedis we meet is Ahsoka being presumably, I didn't watch Rebels, but presumably in hiding for a little bit, or just isolated.
Yeah, so she's pretty much in exile. Just real quick, she's just in exile. Yeah, she's just in exile, helping as much as she can around the Outer Rim area.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that they give it a treatment of like cowboy meets samurai type of thing, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking. Of course, Jedi is different. It's it's like a samurai.
No, but I feel you.
But I think they're gonna give it that level of groundness to the character while still being the same character that we've seen in Rebels and Clone Wars and things like that. So I think that's going to be a nice matchup, and hopefully they expand the lore of like
we are going to see Death Watch. That has been confirmed. We are going to see I don't know if you remember Death Watch. Death Watch is in Rebels and Clone Wars.
Like I said,
okay. So Death Watch is like a group of Mandalorians. It's like a group. It's a creed of Mandalorians, and it's pretty much just they dress obviously they're just exactly like the Mandalorian we have today. And it's been confirmed that the actual voice actor that actually did it in Clone Wars, the actual voicing for Death Watch, which is the group of individuals, the leader of it, which is a woman. She's actually playing herself, the voice from Clone Wars. She looks just like her, and they made it to where she's gonna play that character, and I can't wait to see that interpreted out. Maybe we get that next episode because at the time the Empire annihilates them and they go in exile. Now we don't know when they go into exile because they really don't go into location and all that or what system. But again, too, I know we talked about the system. This is a new system we're going into. Another new system. I know you're going to agree with me on, Lex, is that once we go to this planet, we're actually going to see something very different. I know you're probably going to like it because just like me, I know we both love seeing different planets, different systems, expanding that universe, and maybe we'll get to see it in a new Star Wars movie. Maybe we'll get to see just them visiting it and whatnot. But yeah, I can't wait to see what else is in store for the Mandalorian. And then also we forgot to mention the cameo of Dave, man. I mean, what's his last name? I'm sorry, I always
Filoni.
Dave Filoni, yeah. The only one that wears a cowboy hat. I mean, come on, this guy, brown cowboy hat, dude. I mean, this guy has been from the get-go, man. Clone Wars. He's been, involved for creative side for a very, very long time. He's no stranger to this. He actually produced this one. I made a cameo in it. He was actually one of the Rebel pilots, guys. But yeah. All right. Any final thoughts, Lex? Anything else you want to say?
No. Well, I really like the last bit when the pilots rescue the Mandalorian. It's that little trade-off of like, hey, like once again, it was kind of like getting pulled over, getting the cops look into your record and stuff like that, and they talked about all the, hey, you did this,
all that stuff.
It comes back to bite him, but they also address like the good that he's done and kind of like the change in character. He's never been a bad person. He knows bad people. Just the kind of like
the New Republic.
To my understanding, the things that they listed off that he also did and helped in has been his journey with the child and trying to protect the child. So it's that little bit of character development, you could say, as far as like who he used to be and how now he has a purpose, and he's had it before, but it was very isolating, and now he has a purpose outside of himself, which is really good. So once again, it's these little tidbits that keep expanding his character, and it's kind of like that heartbeat of like, okay, what is driving this story forward? And those little bonds, and even the moments where the child was being super caring for him as well, while at the same time being a child eating Lady Frog's kids and stuff. It gave me a lot of like, it's still a kid, it's still
learning.
It's still learning, and it's still doing its own thing also by nature. So maybe that'll play into effect. Like, I'm not necessarily saying his hunger, but kids have tantrums, kids have emotions, kids have outbursts. Like, are we gonna deal with that when it comes to Baby Yoda? So I'm super excited to see that next.
Just go one small tidbit before we close with this episode is that I want to mention, ladies and gentlemen, is that there is a little so whenever he's talking with that creature, when they're first writing in, and he's
Dr. Mandible or something like that.
Yeah, like he says that he speaks, what language do you speak? And he mentions a language. It's called Hut.
With the Lady Frog, right?
Yeah. He mentions a language, and that language is actually the same that Jabba the Hutt's that the Hutts speak. So just a little tip, keeping it in the same realm of Star Wars, just making sure. And that's the thing I love about Jon Favreau and all the creative team there. It's just like they're giving hints like, hey, it's all connecting, man. It's all going to come together slowly. We're taking our time on it, getting the wheels going. And we just want to make sure that to keep you on form, this is the Star Wars world. This is it. Maybe we'll hear, hopefully we get to see something like that, like how the Empire, Return of the Jedi, how we saw in the last episode, how the Marshal was just watching the second Death Star get exploded. Like, I want to see those backstory scenes there because it shows like, hey, it's still in that realm. I want to see the Millennium Falcon, in that project, so stuff like that. I want to see. And again, we're probably not going to see the Millennium Falcon, but I do want to see tidbits like, oh, Luke won the war, or like, Han and Luke, or just even mention Leia, or mention anybody in a sense. But but I'm excited to see what else is in store for this. But yeah, man. All right, Lex. Well, thanks for being on the show, brother. I really do appreciate it, man.
No, thank you guys for having me over. Always a lot of fun talking about the Mandalorian. Yeah, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
On the next episode, guys. The next episode will be a little late because I will be going to Disney World. So, mask on, of course, and then I'll be seeing the real Mandalorians at Disney World. But yeah, yeah, in a sense. But yeah, maybe I'll catch some merchandise. I'll check it out.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, I'm looking to see that helmet, man. I know everyone's after that helmet that he has. So
it's like a replica or what?
Yeah.
My head's too big, man. I always want those ones that they sell like at Think Geek and stuff.
Just shave your beard.
I don't know if it'll be tight or like my chin will show. I can't shave. I don't know. Maybe.
Your word for an episode. All right, man. All right, guys. If you have not already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up. You like our review, guys. And put it on the comments down below. Maybe we missed something. Maybe we totally forgot something. And put it on the comments down below. But yeah, guys. Like, share, subscribe. As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. Ryan680.
Lex logging off as a continued guest. Always happy to be here, guys.
Yeah. And also mention your podcast, brother.
Oh, yeah. Check out Not in Theaters, as always. We have a huge catalog of episodes. We're hoping to, I always say this, but we're hoping to bring it back. Yeah. There hasn't been a lot of movies in theaters anyways, but we do talk about the things not in theaters, so we'll definitely get some episodes cooking, but catch up in the meantime.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Check y'all later.